Welcome to the Studio Chat podcast, the podcast designed to be your companion in the journey of self-discovery. I'm Barbara Thompson, your host and a dedicated therapist. I'm the founder and owner of Self-Care Studio, a private counselling practice. With my clients and courses that I create on this podcast, I'm committed to ensuring that you have the support that you need. I created this podcast as a space for you to feel a sense of connection and a reminder that you're not alone in this thing that we call life, this adventure. This podcast is your weekly reminder to trust yourself, live life authentically, and embrace the path that is uniquely yours. Together, we'll explore ways to break free from people-pleasing, overthinking, allowing you to claim your time. You'll be joined by myself as I take you through some episodes, or during the year, I'll have some special self-care experts as guests on my podcast. So if you're ready to step into a life that's truly for you, join me on this journey. Let's navigate the twists and turns of life together, and more importantly, live your life for you. So thank you so much for choosing to spend some time with me today. Let the studio chat begin. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Studio Chat podcast. My name is Barbara Thompson. I'm the host of the Studio Chat podcast, and the reason why I started this podcast was to have conversations about self-care, conversations about us healing ourselves, us getting to know ourselves better, and bringing people from all around the world to talk about what they do themselves personally or professionally to help us in this thing called life, to help us move through things. And the cool thing about a podcast is, we can go to places all around the world. And right now, I do this for a reason. On episodes, I always say where I'm talking to someone because I immerse myself. So right now, if you're with me, I'm about 75 k's southeast of Paris, and this is my first French guest. So I'm so excited to have her on my podcast. Her name is Claire Morisseau. Oh, I knew I would not get that right.
That's fine. Morisseau.
Claire, can you please say your beautiful name for me?
Claire Morisseau.
I could listen to that all day, and I did practice beforehand, but out of respect, I do like to get people's names right. And if you've been a guest on my podcast, you'll know, almost to the point that I'm a bit fearful now of even getting people's names right, and I stuff it up.
Oh, no need to be.
No, but welcome to my podcast. You've been doing what you've been doing. You're an alternative therapist, an intuitive coach. I've just been speaking to you off camera before we started recording. It's so beautiful to see the infectious work that you do. You're so fulfilled. You've been doing this for 12 years, and you help people that have trapped or blocked emotions due to trauma, and you help people reach their full potential. And I'm really, really so grateful and honored that you're here today to be on my podcast. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very grateful as well.
Oh, I'm so
It was great to meet you, and we had a great conversation.
We have had a great conversation. So I think if anyone's clicked on this, I would imagine they want to know a bit more. It may be for themselves, or it may be for someone that they know in their life that they feel like they've got trapped emotions or blocked emotions through trauma. And can you walk me through what you do to help people?
Okay, so what I do to help people is I use several techniques and modalities that I learned, and I combined all those techniques and modalities together with my intuition. So what I use is, okay, I'm an emotion code practitioner. So the emotion code is about releasing trapped emotions. I created an extension of it through the channel because I'm also a channeler, which means I'm a clairaudient. I hear messages from guides and angels sometimes. I'm even trained for that. So I'm trained in a specific channeling protocol. which I use sometimes, and sometimes I don't need to use it because I just hear what the channel is saying. And so with the channeling, I bring clarity and discernment uh, to people that want to ask questions or are unsure about something, or they are they need clarity. And so with the emotion code, I help people release their trapped emotion that are creating blocks, that are creating, patterns, or even physical ailments. And I also deal with traumas with a modality called the completion process. And I talk to the fragmented aspects of our personality, fragmented through trauma, that our personality, parts of ourselves get fragmented and stay at the inside, at the trauma stage. And those parts of ourselves, most of the time, we're not aware of. But they can create a lot of blocks, a lot of patterns, a lot of emotions, you name it, anything. So it's very interesting to dive into those parts and see what is causing why, and to actually like undo the knots. I love to do that. I love to undo the knots. I love to find out what is the cause of this problem. Where does it come from? Because there's always a reason. There's always a reason. There's a logic. Even so, most of the time we don't see it because it's all unconscious and we're not aware of it, and we're also not educated into understanding what's going on, which we should. We should learn all this at school because it's so crucial. Oh my gosh, if we were learning all this at school, the world would certainly be very, very different than what it is, because most of the time we're actually it's those hidden parts within us, those trapped emotions, those unhealed traumas, that are running the show, and we're not even aware of it. So I'm very passionate about working with all those things, so the person can overcome their blocks and realize their dreams and grow and evolve and be more happy, because in the end it's all about being happy. It's all about being happy. Yeah.
And I think for someone like you too, when people come and see you, a lot of people think that when you go and see a therapist or someone, that you have to have a reason why. Like you have to know, you almost have to have half of the steps worked out before you see someone like us. But I think if something feels off, something doesn't feel right, and that can be in your head or it can be in your body, or you keep repeating a same pattern and you go, I'm over this, or you're deeply unhappy, or you keep attracting the same people in your life, like whatever your thing is, you don't have to know why. That's our job to help you through that.
Exactly. We're
Just
trained for that.
yeah.
And I love doing that. I love finding out what is going on that creates this and that for this person who doesn't understand it, and who's suffering from it.
Yeah.
I love to create
Yeah.
happiness for people. That's where, like I told you in our conversation before this, I had a session yesterday with someone, um and he was so happy at the end of the session. This is so rewarding. I just love that. I love to create a little bit more happiness for people. That it's priceless. That's what we all want in the end.
Yeah.
We want to be more joyful, more happy, more fulfilled, and we want to be able to realize our dreams. This person very much want to do something that he can't seem to manage to do. And oh gosh, I'm gonna love helping him do it. I'm very, very passionate about that, helping people develop their full potential. This is really something that I love doing,
I can
and
see it.
creating more happiness.
Yeah, because a lot of that you said comes through being in the flow. So for people that are listening to this and might not know what it feels like, what it means to when you do work and you're in flow, could you share a little bit about what, because I know what it feels like when I'm in there. Can you share with my audience like what it feels like for you to, what does it look like? What does it feel like when you're in flow?
Yeah, oh my gosh, that's the best. It's when you have a client who comes with a problem, and for some reason, you know what to say, you know what to do, you know where to go, and it works. And you don't have to think about it, just comes to you as obvious, almost in real time, and the session goes on like this. You just know what to say, and after the session you're like, oh my gosh, how did I know that? Or wow, that was so great. Wait, where did I learn that? No, I did not learn that. It came to me on the spot, and it's kind of a little miracle somehow, um because I'm like, "Oh, wow, I didn't know I was able to know all those things, and deal with all those problems and everything." And I actually found out that I'm guided by whoever wants to guide me on that day, on that session. I used my muscle test to test it. When I'm really, really in the flow, and oh gosh, and I have that with several clients, and more. I'm actually working more and more this way through the years. It also developed. It was not like this in the very beginning. This is really something that developed
Yeah.
through the years. And I, yeah, every time I wonder, okay, was it really me, or was it the channel maybe? And I test it, and I always get a yes, that it was the channel, and I love that. And I'm like, oh, that explains it all. So I'm just being guided here, and it's great because it works, because of course it's all about the results. So if
Mm.
it helps people, and they're, what I love doing also is inspiring people, because I always give homework because I don't know, my channel is like this, it gives homework and action plan and steps to go through and things to practice, and this and that to do, and yeah, I I very much love doing that, and it's great to be guided in real time, so I don't have to think about it. It just comes. That's what it is to be in the flow for me. It comes up to me. I have the answer, and I don't know where it comes from. Well, now I kind of know, but and the person, sometimes, I have clients that take a session just to ask me questions. Uh, just to ask me questions like, okay, this happened, and I have this problem with my husband, and I'm feeling this and that, and what's going on, and I don't understand, and why did I react this way, and why is this, and and I always have the answers. Like, this is what is being in the flow. It's like, out of the blue, like this, I have the answers, and I don't have to think about it. I just know what to say, and it's fluid. What I say is fluid. I don't hesitate, and it hits the spot, and the person gains awareness, and she's and they go, oh yeah, okay, now I understand. Oh yeah, I get it. okay, it's like this. And it's so easy. Oh gosh, I love it.
Yeah.
It's easy and it works and it helps people for real. And it's extremely rewarding, and it's easy. Flow is ease also, it's fluid. It just, you open the it's like you turn on the switch and it just flows.
Yeah. Not for
So
everyone.
so
Everyone don't, some people don't have this gift, but what that's
I don't know if it's a gift, maybe because
it is.
maybe maybe if you're open to it, you're going to develop it through the years. It's also through
But
practicing. I don't
I
know.
think because you're very creative too. So you've shared with me that you're also a jazz pianist as well, which I think is
Yes.
so incredible.
Is it? Yeah, that's my first career, is to be a musician and specifically a jazz pianist. So yes, I love to improvise. To play a jazz concert, you also need to be in the flow.
Yes.
You need to be in the flow
Yeah.
because 90% of it is improvised. We
Mm,
play tunes, and we keep the chord schedule, but the rest is improvised.
mm,
We create our chords, we think about some harmonies and how we're going to play the melody differently, and the interaction between the musician, which is my favorite part, how we interact together in real time, and nothing of that is written. Nothing. So when you hit some kicks together with the drummer at the same time, nothing was planned. That's magical. That's the flow. And I love that.
yeah. Yeah. And to me, when I know they're in flow, or to me, that means you're on purpose as well. You're doing what you're meant to be doing, and you love it, and you're passionate about it.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely.
Mm,
Yes. You're expressing what you're good at.
mm, yeah.
What
Love
you're what you're
too.
what you're meant to do, what you're meant to be. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you're shining your light, and that's what I want to help people with, shining their light and realize their dreams and be happier because of that.
Yeah. So when we're talking about blocked emotions or trapped emotions, because most of us, whether you know it or don't, most of us will push that little sucker down because
Oh yeah.
it's we don't have time for it. We've probably been doing it our whole life. So you could be listening to this going, I don't push my emotions down. I don't block anything. I think about things. I write things down. I move through them. Yeah. So do a bit of a check on your body. Like, do you have acne? Do you have any skin conditions? Do you have a bloated stomach? How's your bowel movements? Any headaches? Any anxiety? Any depression? These are all blocked and trapped emotions too. So it might just not be, it's not always all in our heads and our thoughts. It can actually, when we push the stuff down, it can come up in all sorts of different ways, because all those different ways are like, hi, can you
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
need a bit of help. And what I love about what you do is when you talk about this emotion code, you mentioned to me before earlier that there's a minimum of about 60 different emotions, 60. I want
Yes.
people to hear that, because I know the seven dwarfs, happy, whatever the seven dwarfs are, some of those emotions, happy, sad, bashful, whatever, grumpy,
Oh, right.
right?
Grumpy. Yeah.
I don't think there's 60, there's seven dwarfs. I don't think there's 60. So that blew my mind when you said to me, Barbara, when I work with clients, I have the ability to, what you're trained in is to work through 60, a minimum of 60 emotions.
Yeah. 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 I even, through the channel, I even added a few emotions here and there on the chart.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know. I'm not the only one. I know other practitioners who added some emotions. Yeah, yeah. It's so basically it's a chart that has been channeled by the founder of the Emotion Code, who's called Dr. Bradley Nelson,
Mm-hmm.
and we use a muscle test to actually be to guide us into an emotion in the chart, and then we work on that emotion. We talk about it, we ask questions, and then when the person is ready, it gets released. It's the awareness
Mm.
that we put on one specific emotion related to something that happened at a specific age. So we usually go there, when we need to know more about a trapped emotion, we test for an age, and we ask the person what happened at that age that could have created this emotion. And then we I ask questions, what happened, etc. And the it's the fact of talking about it, like bringing it up to the awareness of the person, that releases the emotion.
And
you
the
know
fact that,
it's like I see it as a cleansing thing, really.
yeah.
What I do, I like to I test it always, but I always test which modality to use for this person, for that problem. And usually I use the emotion code as an entry point, or as a uh, I would need a better word, as a preparation before using the completion process. If there is, the emotion code is not gonna be enough if there is very deep trauma. That's why I added the completion process to my toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great starter, because you don't need to relieve the emotion. You don't need to, it's much lighter. It's easier for the person. It's non-intrusive, as Dr. Bradley Nelson says, because if they don't even want to say what it's about, they can think about it, and I can test if that's right, and it's going to be enough. And you know what's amazing with the emotion code? You can even work on your own for people. Yes, I can do a session on my own. Some people like it this way. I can do a session on my own, and it's absolutely works.
Wow.
It works. Actually, the team, the close team of Dr. Brad, they, as far as I understood, they only work like this. They do the session on their own, and they send you the by email all the trapped emotion that they released. And another thing that is really great with the emotion code is you can release the what Dr. Brad calls the heart wall, which is a protection that we have, that we built around our heart, always because of traumatic
Yeah.
events.
It makes sense.
And it's made out of trapped emotions, and
Mm.
we release it one emotion at a time, like brick by brick.
Yeah.
And it's super powerful. Oh my gosh, I had such great results only doing the heart wall for people, like in case of conflicts, difficult relationships. um it can work wonders,
Yeah.
really.
I'm a big believer, and that's why I started my podcast is uh, I'm just one person, and I have my own modalities, and I have my own style, and I'm not for everyone. That's okay. But by bringing all these beautiful referrals and contacts that I have kind of selfishly got on my podcast, yes, it's for everyone else, but you better believe that everyone that I meet, when I have someone in front of me, I go, actually, that person can help you more, or that person, like, you know what I mean? It's such a beautiful thing, because we're all at different stages of our lives. And I know at one point in my life, this conversation you and I are having about channeling, about being in flow, about intuition, I would have gone, what? I would not have been,
Yeah.
I've done a lot of work and paid for a lot of courses and done a lot of stuff to get to this point to even be able to have a conversation like this with you. So that's what I mean is anyone a year or two down the track listening to this episode, you may be in the right place to listen to it. And if not now, that's okay, because maybe in 2 or 3 years' time, you'll come back to it and you'll hear something new from it. And then you'll be like, oh, cool, I want to learn more about my emotions. I probably don't want to go see a psychologist or a therapist as such. I want to try an alternative way. Or maybe they've been
Right.
and they haven't been ready to let go, or haven't been ready to. So there's so many different ways, and they all help people. But I think it's about everyone educating themselves to find out what is right for me. What do I do?
Absolutely.
And feeling trusted. And you're such a beautiful, caring person, Claire. And I just love the passion that you bring. And I think, yeah, every time you're talking about what you're doing, I wish people could see you. You're literally jumping off your chair, but that's what makes you you. Like, that's what working with you is infectious. People can feel that energy from you. So
Thank you.
I love it. So when we're talking about the emotion code, I guess the next part is the completion process. I don't know much about that. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So the completion process is a process in 18 steps that has been specifically designed to help people heal their childhood trauma, the root traumas. So the theory says that it's in early childhood that the root traumas happen, and after that if they're not healed, get to happen again somehow. It's the same kind of trauma. You know what I mean? Like till you properly heal your root traumas, the traumas that happen till around age 8,
Yeah.
they keep repeating themselves. So the idea with the completion process is when a person comes with a problem, whatever it is, we try to find what is the root trauma, and we go there and we deal with it. And so it's a journey, really, in which you guide the person step by step, chronologically. It's a script that's written that you may or may not follow. I like to sometimes go somewhere else because I feel this is what is needed, but anyway, this script is really designed to bring as much healing as possible in a childhood trauma memory. There's even some energy healing. One of the steps is an energy healing. So excuse me. So the person at the end of it's a process that can take a bit of time. You never know how long it's going to take, because it's chronological, so you cannot go to step 2 if the step 1 is not completed, so depending on the gravity of the trauma and on the person, it's I don't time it, because I think it's not good to time it, like, when you start, but you don't know when it stops, but at the end you're gonna end up feeling regenerated and nourished, and something really happened. You're gonna call all the fragmented aspects, that got fragmented at that moment. We really go into one specific memory, and so they do that in a modality that's called soul retrieval. I think shamanic in that shamans do that. It's called soul retrieval. We call it calling back the fragmented aspects. Anyway, so all what is happening during this process leads the person to a place that we call the safe haven, where there's safety and security, where healing has happened, and the person feels more complete, as the name of the...
Because what happens is we all are here for lessons. We all are learning. We're human beings and we're here to learn things. And it's never ending, right? Learning things. But what it is
right,
there'll be one main theme or one main thing in your life. And until you've understand why it's happening or how it's happened and learn from that lesson, it will keep being repeated. So for me, my lesson, and anyone listening to this podcast, part of my lessons was being brought up in a household with a father that was very psychopath with narcissistic tendencies. So all the men that I pulled into my life until I was 38 were exactly the same. And so part of my lesson and learning was that's okay, that's not normal. And then that branched off to so many other things. And one of those things was intuition. So following my intuition was being in these relationships and it doesn't have to be a toxic relationship or a narcissistic relationship. It can just be a relationship that's not meant for you. It doesn't have to be romantic. It can be your boss. It can be your neighbor. It can be a friend. It can be a family member, right? Any type of relationship. If something feels off or something doesn't feel right, that was the beginning of part of my lesson of I would never listen to myself because I would always be like, but who am I? Well, I don't know anything. And I would always trust other people more. I would trust other people's words. I want people to like me. So I didn't want to go against the grain. I didn't want to share my opinion. I just wanted to fit in and be liked like all of us do. But that's the thing is when you have these lessons you need to learn, well, I'm saying you need to learn, but things, and I'm sharing my example here of there was a pattern in my life that I kept repeating and repeating and repeating until it got to the point. And during this time, I was doing little bits of work on myself and reading books or seeing a therapist or two and trying to understand, but it all came to a head where I kept repeating it. And then just one day I was like, oh, oh, okay, right. And part of that was I wouldn't listen to my intuition. Sometimes you feel funny in the tummy. Sometimes when you go on that date and you have the butterflies in your tummy, that's actually not a good thing. But I always was led to believe that, oh, it's exciting. Ooh. No, my nervous system, Barbara, run away. But I just normalized that. And I had pushed my voice down so much. Yes, I'm a strong personality. Yes, I'm very strong physically, mentally, whatever, very confident. But when it came to any type of relationship, I was never being true to self, as in would never be like, hang on, let me sleep on this. Let me think about this. Let me check in. What do I want? Because I had never done that. What do I want? Where do I want to go? Who do I want to be? What's important to me? What's my values? What's my beliefs? I was just running on that first 7-8 years of my programming of my life, my blueprint of Barbara, as in, when you build a house, you have plans. As a child, you're born, you almost have like a blueprint of that first 7 years or so, how you speak to people, how you treat people, what love is, all that kind of stuff. And you carry that with you in your backpack your whole life. And so I was running off that blueprint. Who am I? I'm nothing. I don't deserve nice things, or I don't deserve nice. So it was this thing that would keep playing out over and over again. And I think intuition is like my new favorite friend, and it has been for such a long time. And I hear that you work on your big intuition as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Interesting. Yeah, sometimes I say things and I'm like, is it me or the channel? And I hear, no, it's you. Sometimes it's you. Go on. You're doing a great job. Sometimes I hear that from the channel. It's pretty funny.
Oh, I wish
Yes.
I had one. What station is that on? So I can tune into my channel and hear them going, "Good job, Babs, good job." And they're probably right
Yeah,
now
exactly.
listening to me going, "You fool, we tell you all the time, you just can't hear us."
Yeah, that's very possible. Very possible.
You
Yeah.
can
What
definitely
I would like
mistake
to what I would like to add to what you were explaining, something that I'm also pretty passionate about is, um, yes, we need to listen to our intuition, but we also need to be educated, because there's no way we can excuse me, I have a cat in my throat, as we say in French.
Oh, we have a cat. I thought you'd say frog.
No, no, what we have in our throat when we need to cough is a cat.
There was a le chat. Le chat?
Oui, un chat dans la gorge.
Oh, I can't pronounce it. I can say cat. Le chat. Le chat. Okay,
Very good.
we say frog. I can't remember what's frog.
Une grenouille.
Oh, right. Yes, that's right.
Grenouille.
We say
Yeah.
we have a frog in our throat. Anyway, you have a cat. Okay, carry on. Sorry.
Funny. Yeah, we
Guys,
have
we're
a
having a
cat.
French. I forgot to tell everyone at the beginning. I used to do a bit of French at school. I love the French language. So this is a mini French lesson for us, as well as talking about emotions and healing and intuition. All right. So carry on.
Yes, no, I want to say that in order to be able to hear our intuition, that's my belief, okay? This is what I got to, that's my own realization, let's say. I think education is key.
Yeah.
I think we should learn psychology at school, basic psychology, relationships, trauma. How does that work? Emotions, how to express your emotions so they don't get stuffed down. So I don't need to release your trapped emotions using the emotion code. You know, like, like just imagine if we were learning that at school from a very young age. How different would the world be? Would we have all those conflicts? Like, seriously,
Mm.
would we have all those misunderstandings? I really believe that. I very much believe the saying I heard once and never forgot anymore. We are all the victims of our own ignorance. So intuition is great, and knowing how our brain function, knowing how our psyche function is key.
Yeah.
So we can put concepts into what we feel. So we understand what we feel. So we understand the dynamics that are going on. So we understand the patterns. How can we understand? How can we even be aware of a pattern if we don't know what it is? If we don't know, what is a pattern? How things work? Like I so believe that, because I got to learn all those things. I'm working with those things because I learned them. I learned how, and I keep learning. Like you said, it doesn't. There's no end to learning. I keep learning because I'm interested in
Yeah.
understanding how we function, because I want to function, but I want to have better relationships. I want to understand people better. I want to understand myself better. And it's all for the same goal. I want to be happier. I want to make people happier. So basically, it's all for a better world in the end.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's great. That's why we've got people like
it
you on the
is.
planet. Yeah. Yeah.
It is, because what else? I mean, that's what we want. We want to be joyful and we want to be happy. But so it goes. So just to say it. knowing and education goes hand in hand with using our intuition. You know, I very much believe the more we know about psychology, the more we can listen to our intuition, the more we can develop our intuition. It's something, it's like the rest, we get to develop it. Doing sessions for 12 years, I see how my intuition has developed through the years. It's not like I was, no.
It's
You know, in the beginning, I would follow what I had learned. I would stick to the script, and which is fine. It's fine. But then slowly I got to, it just happened that I developed my intuition, and of course I have the channel to help. So yeah, I have both. I have the channel, I have my own intuition, and I use my own knowledge too, and it's crucial to my work. The more I learn about how the psyche functions, the better I am for my clients. So it's all a combination of all those things.
Yeah.
I think.
No, it's beautiful because it's such a, and you said education is key. We need to be teaching kids this. We need to be in the school.
Oh yeah.
And just, if nothing else, just having a more understanding of ourselves. Like you're with yourself.
If we were teaching young kids all the, you know, like basics at their level, you know, like when you see siblings interacting with each other, you know, there can be a lot of abuse. And I'm talking even toddlers, you know. So if the parents ignore, it's just my theory, okay, it's just my personal little realizations. If the parents don't see what's going on, which most of the time they don't see what's going on, me, when I see what's going on, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to say to that older child that you don't do that to your little sister or brother, you know. That's not okay to do that. 99% of the times parents don't see it. They think it's normal. I'll just let the sibling deal with each other, you know. They think it's normal. So and oh gosh, I can see that so clearly. So an abusive pattern, it starts when, like, it starts very early. You see it, it's obvious, but because the parents are not educated into that, they don't see it, they let it be, you know. And a pattern starts and it develops, and gosh, it would be so easy with just a little bit of knowledge. It would be so easy to to shift the pattern, to educate the little child. Very easy way, you know, like, this is okay, this is not okay, as simple as this. As simple as this. This is okay, but this is not okay. And it would change everything. It would change our relationships. I very much believe that.
Yeah, and the little
I'm not blaming the parents.
Oh, no.
I'm blaming the lack of education.
Yeah, all the parents do the best that they can. They really do.
Oh yeah.
And I think that the young clients that I see, I speak to them as how I speak to my adult clients. I don't deal, just because I have an 8-year-old person in front of me, I don't speak to them any differently. No swear words, obviously. But in saying that, they're very smart. And kids, remember, before the age of 7, they also don't really have any preconceived ideas. So they're very open. That's when young kids, if you've ever been with a kid and they're like, I don't like that person, mummy, or I don't like that person, daddy, they'll be right, because they can feel things and they can see things and what have you, but that all gets blocked off after a while, because that's not normal, and you can't live life by your emotions or your intuition, because it doesn't pay the bills. That's why young people are so smart. Listen to them. They'll tell you what they need. They need to be listened to. They know already. They know what they want.
They do.
Yeah, it's funny that you were saying with siblings because I've just been watching the whole time my cat and dog. It's a boy and a girl, and as you were saying, I kid you not, you were talking about, and I know this is a serious podcast, so I'm talking about something that's a bit of harder to wrap this podcast up. But my boy cat is sitting in the washing basket with all the holes in it. And then my little girl dog, for the first time, is looking through the holes, trying to traumatize him. And as you were talking about the trauma and brothers and sisters traumatizing each other, I was looking over at what I would call my two little children doing it. Right. And I was like, is this playing in real life time for me, watching these two fight all the time? I was like,
absolutely.
Am I a bad mother? Because I'm just watching it go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's happening with animals too. Yeah, absolutely.
No, but
you can educate your dog and your cat.
Oh, they're
at
very
their
smart.
level.
The animals are very smart. But anyway, on a serious note though, this stuff is serious, and it's really important that we have a conversation and we get the word out there, and people, this is just a normal conversation you have over a cup of coffee at a cafe with some friends. And if you're hearing someone in your group or family member is going through a difficult time, there is this type of help too. There's so many different ways of being able to help yourself, help the ones we love. And I love this conversation that we've had today, because it is maybe something different that people have not heard about before. They haven't heard about the emotion code, the completion process. And I think it's such a great start for you and I to begin this conversation of this stuff to help people. So if people would like to continue this conversation with you, Claire, and have a chat with you or find out more about this stuff, where's the best place for them to contact you or get hold of you?
They can go to my Facebook page, which is Claire's Healing Work. And I believe they can, from there, they can even contact me on WhatsApp, leave a message on WhatsApp. I think there is a button that leads them to my WhatsApp. Okay. So that's the easiest way.
All right. I'll look for you on Facebook and add that in the show notes. They can just click on it in the show notes and contact you that way.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. It has been it is nearly 10:30 at night here, so if my voice is starting to sound a bit hoarse, I'm a bit, this is the time difference, but I've really enjoyed this beautiful chat and getting to know you. And
me too.
Yeah, it has been
absolutely.
The more that we talk about this stuff, we normalize it, and it won't be for everyone. And you know what? It may not be for you right now, because I know stages in my life, even this type of conversation today, I would have been so closed off, almost to the point of, oh yeah, I don't even know. I don't even understand it. I don't even know what it is. What is it? And I move on. But now, meeting different people, knowing how this stuff all works, holy hell, this stuff actually can make a difference, change lives.
Absolutely. And it's so much faster than regular therapy. I would like to humbly add.
Are we going to stand round one? Are we going to have a face off, are we?
But no, I very much believe in modalities and techniques, like actual tools, rather than just talking for 20 years, which it helps, because it's important to talk. It's important to get the support. It's important to be able to express yourself and have this relationship with another human being. So it does work, but with actual tools and techniques, it's so much faster. I really believe that.
Yeah, and I work differently as other therapists. Everyone has their own style and their way, but I know I don't operate like a normal clinical therapist, just because I work with the person in front of me. I treat the person in front of me, and sure, we talk, but there's so many other ways that you better believe if they've got time for homework, like you, I give them homework, but I give them other tools
Right.
and things that they can use so that they don't need me forever. Like, that's
Oh,
that's a
absolutely.
sign of a good therapist is you bring someone on, you work with them, and you help them through those difficult times. And then I have an aftercare program, so I care for people afterwards. But then once you're on my books, you're on my books. So if you need to see me relatively, I can plan my weeks pretty well. If someone needs to see me in the next 48 hours, no matter how booked I am, I can manage a spot because that person's important to me. If they've chosen me as their person, you better believe I'll do the best I can, whether it's a year or 2 or 5 years down the track. I will remember you. You don't need to repeat everything again. And you come in for like a check-in, a check-in and a check-up and a touching base.
Yeah.
But this stuff is
Yeah.
serious. Like, yes, talking therapy sometimes can get a bad rap, but you got to find your person, and you've got to
You
find,
got to find your
and
person.
then also you got to
It's
be
true.
honest with yourself too. You've actually got to go, am I just going to go and oh, I can't even think of a term that's not a rude term. I'm going to have to say it because, like,
Oh, yeah, just say it.
I don't know if you've heard of this. I was trying to think of a nicer way of saying it because it's pretty crass. But have you ever heard of the saying like pissing in the wind or something? Like, have you heard?
No, no, I haven't, but I cannot guess what it means.
Well, I think
We say
I
pissing
think
in a violin.
okay. I don't even know if I'm actually saying that right. I'm probably going a bit delirious now because it's a bit late. But it's like you have to be really honest with yourself. Are you going just to tick a box? Are you going because someone told you to go? Or are you going, yeah, I want to kind of heal. I want to do some work on myself, but I'm not really into it. Like you really
Yeah.
uncomfortable as it is, because it is uncomfortable. Man, the changes that I've seen and the people that walk through my door, and it's them. I guide them, but they've done the work. They've turned up
Oh, absolutely.
when they don't feel like it. They've done the homework. They've sat there and
They,
tried
they,
things.
they opened up to it.
Yep.
That's the start.
Yep. So it goes into a lot into it, and I understand it's very overwhelming. I understand it's like a roller coaster. And the more that we can get this word out there, the better. The more that we can say that
Yeah.
pain and those feelings come and go. And that's the shitty thing. Like I sometimes, I'm not going to say that because that sounds really horrible, but I know the waves and I know when it comes and goes, but it will never go until you kind of face it head on. As much as you want to block it down, hey, it may not show its head for 50 years, but when it does, it'll come up and go, hello, I'm here. So,
Yeah.
there's so much to that I want to say, but that's the tricky thing, it can be anyone. It can be a kinesiologist. It can be someone like you. It can be anyone in this modality space because it's huge. You've got to
And there
find,
are a lot.
try your thing, see if you like someone, word of mouth. I don't care who you see, it doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
get started. I couldn't do the stuff by myself. You need
Oh,
someone
no.
a few steps ahead of you to show you the way. And then you can go alone. But I think in those beginning parts and to really normalize that, yeah, it is, but it's hard and you won't feel like it sometimes. And sometimes you'll feel like you've taken 10 steps backwards. So many of my clients will sit in front of me and go, oh my gosh, Barbara. And they'll say to me, I feel like I'm at the beginning. And then I'll pull their notes out from this first session and I'll read it to them and they'll go, oh, was that me in my first session? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh. So I'm like, well, I'll ask you this question now. Do you think you've gone 10 steps backwards? And you can go, no, but that's my job. I'm there to reflect back the work that they've done. I'm there to reflect back. So, all of us will talk about ourselves in a certain way. And then having someone repeat a sentence that we've just said, and to the point where it's literally just come out of your mouth, and I'll reflect it back to a client. I'll say, do you know you've said this 3 or 4 times and you've said, I hate myself, I'm not good enough, I should. And they're like, did I just say that? I'm like, yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
that's the beauty of
Talking about a hidden pattern or a pattern we're not aware of.
yeah. And it happens that quick. You can say something, it can come out of your mouth and you know what you've said, but you don't realize what you've said. And then when someone says it back to you word for word, I see it on people's faces all the time. I'll go, interesting. And they're like, what? And I said, oh, you just said this, this, and this. And they go, no, I didn't. And I'm like, no, you did. And they're like, did I? Oh my God. And I'll go, yeah. And the human language is so awesome because in that instance, when someone says something to me, it'll be something in their body language that will tell me they'll repeat the word more than once, or their voice, their tone and their voice will change. And whatever word is in that sentence, I go, that's what I need to work on. But this is only by experience of me doing what I do. And that's that's in the textbooks a little bit, but not really. It is, but it's not. That's how I work with people, because I'm their mirror. I help them, in the beginning parts, can you build a house from scratch with no plans? No. Tomorrow, can I walk into a garage and do an oil change on a car? No. But you better believe I can learn with the right people and with the right skills. We can do anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just normalizing this conversation, like you said, learning about it in school and just being able to regulate our emotions is such an awesome place to start before you go anywhere.
It would change everything.
Yeah, I know.
It would change the life of people, because it's, there's always a huge chain reaction. This happened in your childhood, and then you develop this coping mechanism, those strategies, and it goes on and on and on and on, and it's all a chain reaction.
Mm-hmm.
What if from the start we stop it because we know what can possibly go on? It changes everything.
I love how you said it's a chain reaction. That's awesome. I couldn't have said that any better. Honestly, Claire, it has been a beautiful conversation today, and we've started this. So thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for joining me today. It's been
thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I hope this conversation has added value to your self-care journey and inspired positive changes in your life. If you enjoyed this episode, consider sharing it with a friend who might benefit from this episode. Don't forget to subscribe on Spotify or on your favourite podcast platform to stay up to date on future episodes. Your support means the world to me. I genuinely love hearing from you, so please take a moment to leave a review. Let me know which part of today's episode resonated with you the most. Your feedback guides the direction of this podcast, and I really appreciate each and every single one of you for being a part of this community. To fall in love with yourself is the first secret to happiness. To find out a bit more about the Studio Chat podcast, head over to my Instagram page, Studio Chat Podcast, or if you want to find out a bit more about my counselling private practice, head over to Instagram on self_care_studio. Or head over to my website, selfcarebybarbarathompson.com.au. I'm really looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. Until next time, take care of yourselves and keep embracing the journey of self-discovery.